few cows, and now it's the same situation in that there are still a few vacant blocks there, but the builders have them fenced off and have begun the initial stages of building houses. You continue along Mary's Mount Road, and on the left hand side is another new estate called Tenerife, or Tenerife, not sure exactly how you pronounce it. As part of a large parcel of land that belonged to has been subdivided into housing estates, and then if you continue along Mary's Mount Road in the northerly direction, before you come to the Merino estate now, is the newest estate. It is this stage still in the earthworks stage, but nevertheless the advertisements of buying land there. This is the area that's going to be called Blakely's Run. So that's housing estates along there. Another part of town where the old drive-in theatre used to be, the western end of Lansdowne Street. It took a long time for that estate to get off the ground and then be done. I don't know what all the reasons were, but I think all the blocks in there had sold and they all had houses on them. Further out of town, just as you're going towards Canberra, on the right hand side is the Ducks Lane estate, Runner Waters estate, where the blocks are much bigger. There aren't as many houses, but over time what started as a few houses has grown to more. Now I'm getting to the point of all this, but I just want to detail this particular aspect of our growth. Over at East Grove, on the southern end of May Street and Eleanor Street, between there and the Bungoni Road, there'll be new houses built there, where land has been subdivided, and then going down May Street, there's a brand new estate being built directly across from the wetlands. Again, I don't know how many houses are going to be in there, but Goulburn East School, when I first, at one stage, it was a 3-teacher school. I think it went up to 4 teachers. It's now 7 teachers. I think that's 7 full-time, and there would be part-timers and so on. At a rough guess, he's saying there's something between, if every class was say 20, and I'm sure some classes are bigger, but if we were using that as a figure, it means there's 140 children going to school there. So there's been growth there. Continuing our talk about housing estates, out on the Trafalgar Road heading towards Bradfordville, just over the Kenmore Bridge going out towards Trafalgar, a whole lot of units being built just at what used to be the entrance to the Tully Park Sports Complex. I don't think that sport complex operates anymore, but lots of units being built there. A bit further on, going further out on this railway road, on the right hand side is the Joseph's Gate estate, which I've talked about a couple of times, and there's the Joseph's Gate running track, which runs at the back of the estate alongside the river out towards the jail. And then further beyond that, going out to Bradfordville, or going out past Bradfordville to Kenmore, is the estate houses that have been built up around the racecourse that's out there. So my point is this: there has been a lot of housing built in Goulburn. Housing provides lots of jobs for all sorts of tradies, from the people who do the earthworks, the brickies, carpenters, electricians, plumbers, tilers, plasterers, all those people that are involved in building those houses. And I assume, although I don't know for certain, that most of the work has been done by local tradies. And as I said, when I go up around the tillage of Municipal Park, I see new houses being built, and I see trucks, utes from local tradies, they're working. So this housing, I don't know if you call it a boom, but all this housing being built has been good for them and their incomes and for jobs in the city. But more importantly than that, those houses have people living in them. They do. Also do. I don't see very many of them empty. Now you could say that some of them are being being bought by people who have an older house in the city, heading this closer to the town, and now they want to perhaps downsize, because some of them are smaller 2-bedroom houses, not all of them, but some of them. And so it's just people cycling through houses in Goulburn, and some of that may be true. You could also say they're just investors buying a second, or perhaps even a third or fourth property. And again, that may be true. But even if it is, there's still people living in those houses. And people living in houses means either the birth rate is going up dramatically, which would be almost bucking the national trend, or there are people coming to Goulburn. One thing we know, or I know from observation, is that a lot, but not all, a lot of those people, especially those who live in the estates up on the Mary's Mount Road that I talked about, are overflow from Canberra. Now, how I know that is because you see Canberra number plates in the driveways. And again, even if that's the case, there's still people who are coming and living in Goulburn. They'll be doing that because housing in Goulburn is, of course, much cheaper than it is anywhere in Canberra. And when I'm saying much cheaper, I'm talking about a difference of $300,000 or $400,000. So even if you're paying a lot in fuel to drive your gas guzzling SUV down the Federal Highway to work, it's going to be a long time before you burn through the $300,000 difference between your house price here and your house price in Canberra. So, to return to my original point, there are people coming to Goulburn, and that's got to mean mostly good things, because even if some of them, not all of them, but some of them are travelling to Canberra to work, their children are going to the schools here, and that means when the schools get bigger, get more kids, they get more teachers. Teacher comes to the town, they bring their partner and maybe their kids. Even if the people are travelling to Goulburn, travelling out of Goulburn for work, they presumably spend their weekends here, and so do their grocery shopping and other shopping here on the weekends. So that's money circulating in the town. That means more jobs and so on. Now, I said mostly good things because obviously with more people there are all sorts of issues. One that I've noticed, of course, is more traffic, and I especially notice it of a morning when I'm walking my dog and I'm going on the route past the aquatic centre. So for local people, I'm going down Deccan Street, I'm on Fitzroy Street, so past Goulburn High towards Wallandilly, and then up over Newton Street in the opposite direction to where I came earlier. And the amount of traffic that is coming into Goulburn along Fitzroy Street and lining up at to drop off children at Wallandilly public school is much greater than it used to be, and so that brings congestion. And whilst I concede it's not Parramatta Road or anywhere near what it's like in Sydney of a morning doing a school run, these things are all relative. So there's that issue. The issue of more people means people want services where they live, and I've made this observation before. The council is getting on with it, but up around all those estates on Marymount Road, there are a lack of services. There is the inclusive play space, as it's called, and that's being expanded. And there's a cafe there. There's a plan for a shopping centre. The plan for the shopping centre has been just that for probably 10 years. And with Woolworths having spent a lot of money downtown to develop their complex marketplace, and they're all only being expanded and adding a food court maybe 5 or 6 years ago, perhaps a bit longer, and adding a second story to the car park. You can understand why the two major supermarkets are reluctant to spend more money and open another one. And it would make no sense, for example, for Aldi to do the same. But there is a lack of services out there, both those provided by the council and those that will be provided by, ought to be provided by commercial interests. Now, I said earlier, talking about one of the people who commented on this video about the video that I started this discussion about a bloke saying best thing he did was leave Goulburn and go to the Gold Coast. And so I said I'd talk a little bit about more recent history. And if you're a local and lived here long enough, you can probably remember this sequence of events. If not, then a little history lesson here for you. Around the end of the 80s or the early 90s, I can't be sure exactly which date, it was around that time, there were three major events that happened that had an impact on the city of Goulburn. In no particular order, they were: first, the decision by, I think it was the Australian Wool Board, to decide that all wool sales would now be centralised at a place in Sydney called Yennora. I don't know why that decision was taken. I suppose for convenience. But prior to that decision, Goulburn, since it's a fine wool growing centre, had an annual wool sale, and what that meant was that buyers from all over Australia and from overseas came to Goulburn, stayed here, sometimes 2 weeks. Sometimes I think there were several sets of wool sales, so it wasn't all done at once. There'd be one session, go away and come back a few weeks later and so on. But people would come to Goulburn and spend their time here, and in many cases they bring their wives or partners, and while the buyer is at the wool sales all day, literally bidding on bales of wool that had been grown locally, their partner was out shopping and spending money in their town. And of course those people stayed in motels, went out to restaurants and so forth. And so when the wool sales were centralised in Sydney, all of that came to an end. So all of that money dried up. Now, about the same time, governments who've been talking for a long time but appear to be doing nothing had decided that enough was enough when it came to talk, and it was time to be doing something, and started work on the Goulburn bypass. Now, prior to that being built and opening for traffic, and along with that I should say that the federal highway was made a dual carriageway all the way from Goulburn through to Canberra, and that was important too. I'll get to that. But before the highway bypass was built, lots of people used to come through Goulburn and stop, especially in winter time when they're going off to the ski fields. They charge out of Sydney